folks. So I hope the research essay and research unit ended well for you. I'm going to be going over what our final unit will be. And you'll notice that there is not a lot of like new reading or anything. And that's just because the last unit, unit 5, is our final revision project unit. So the only thing that you will be working towards will be the final revision project. I'm going to go over the expectations for the assignment as well as how you might interpret the assignment or apply it to your own work. So keep in mind that it is a revision project. You are not starting anything from scratch. You are taking one of your previous essays that you've written and revising it to make a stronger paper. But you'll notice that there are 3 parts to the essay. So please make sure to pay attention to this video, watch it all the way through so that you're not missing any required aspects of the project. Okay, so first comes the assignment purpose. For your final revision assignment, you will be revising one of your previous essays from our course. You must revise an essay that you have previously turned in. Simply turning in a previously successful essay with no changes is not acceptable. So say you got an A or even a 100 on one of your previous essays, just resubmitting that essay with no changes is not going to fly with this assignment. You are required to make revisions. The essay must be a revision, not a submission of a previously missed essay either. So say in Unit 2, you did not turn in your essay, you cannot resubmit the Unit 2 essay as a revision of that essay if you have not submitted it before. So it has to be something you've turned in, and it has to be a revised version of one of your previous essays. You can't just turn in a previously successful essay. So the first part of the assignment is going to be your topic choice. You'll notice in the week 15 content on Brightspace, there is what's called a topic choice quiz. That quiz only asks you a few questions, like what essay you plan to revise and what revision areas you'll choose. I'll go over the revision areas in a second. You'll notice in the assignment instructions here, it says that you may choose from essays 1 through 3. So that means you can choose the personal narrative that we wrote in the beginning, the comparative analysis or compare and contrast essay that we wrote comparing the 2 articles, or your personal argument essay. You'll notice that the research essay is not on the table for revision. There's a few reasons for that. The first being we just finished that unit, so you likely just revised that essay as a final draft. But also, I want this project to be something that you can work on some of your previous work and show how much your writing skills have improved. A lot of people choose to revise the first essay, the personal narrative, because it is the most distant from them. So they likely have learned a lot about writing and how to construct a successful essay, and those skills can be applied to essay 1. The topic choice quiz that appears on Brightspace is worth 15% of the final project grade, so please make sure to do it unless you want to lose those points. Like I said, in the quiz, you will just be asked which essay you plan to revise and which revision areas you plan to approach in your revision strategy, and we'll go over those next. There is an optional conference section of the essay, so I've called it part 1.5. I'm offering for one-on-one conferences with you guys. If you would like to meet with me to discuss your revision strategies, the rough draft of your final revision, or what you might revise according to, you can schedule a Teams video chat with me this week, or it says the week after Thanksgiving, or the week after this week. So anytime before May 4th, I'll be available to meet with you and we can discuss what your project can include. These meetings, like I say, are optional, so they're not required, but they will likely benefit your work if you decide to meet with me. You can also schedule appointments with the Writing Center online during this week for extra help. They will be available through May 7th, I believe, so you have plenty of time to schedule appointments with them, and I do recommend doing that, especially with the revision project. They can give you some ideas for what you can revise. Part 2 of the project is the actual revision of the original essay, so you'll notice it's worth 60 points of the grade. That's the bulk of the assignment, right? So for this part of the project, you will take the essay that you've chosen and revise it according to any feedback I have given you. That includes feedback on the rough draft of the essay, the final draft of the essay, or any feedback that you get from me or a Writing Center tutor between now and then. Any feedback that we discuss in our one-on-one conference is also available for revision, or just in general, anything that you believe could be stronger in the essay that is also up for grabs in terms of what area of revision you'd like to focus on. On the right side of the slide, you'll see that for this revision project, I expect to see major changes in at least 3 areas of your essay, and you get to choose which 3 areas you'd like to focus on. So the first is thesis statement and introduction. The second is organization. The third is paragraph development. The fourth is grammar, spelling, and punctuation. The fifth is evidence and support. The sixth is conclusion, and then the seventh is MLA formatting. So you have lots of options here, and I encourage you to go back to the feedback on your original essay and see what feedback I've left for you, because I might even mention a specific aspect of your essay that could really be strengthened. And if that's the case, then that's probably a good one to go for when it comes to this revision project. The last part of the project is the reflection. Please remember that this is also a part of the grade. It is worth 25 points of the grade. So for this part of the project, you will write a 250 to 350 word reflection on the revision process that you encountered for this project. In the reflection, you should discuss your rationale behind the decisions you made in your revision. So on the right-hand side, I have some questions that you can answer if you are getting stuck in the reflection. I describe this part of the assignment as an informal personal piece of writing that you use to describe your revision process, what made you decide to revise certain sections, if you revised according to specific feedback, what feedback was there, and what changes did you make because of that feedback. So some of those questions are here, like what were the 3 areas of focus during your revision process? What did you make? Why did you make the changes you made? What specific feedback did you incorporate into your revisions? What is stronger about the essay now? Did you go to the writing center or meet with your professor? If so, how did this factor into your revision? And then finally, what did you learn from the revision process? All of those questions are free game to answer. You can also organize it in whatever way you see fit, but it is a 250 word minimum for the reflection. And I want to stress, because I don't have it on the slide, that this part of the assignment is worth 25% of the grade. So even if you turn in everything else successfully, the revision and the topic choice quiz, you still are missing 25 points of the grade if you do not turn in the reflection. So it is required. So here are some tips for success. These are either coming from students that I have seen be successful in the past, or things I would encourage you to avoid. So first, apply the revisions that you choose to make throughout your entire essay, not just to a specific section. For example, if you choose to work on organization as one of your revision strategies, revisit all the transitions and topic sentences to try them and make them all somewhat stronger, even if you only had 2 or 3 in your essay that were marked as weak in my feedback. I will be grading based on your commitment to the 3 areas of revision that you decided on. So those are the 3 that I'm going to be really looking for when I go to grade your second version of this essay. I also recommend that you go back to the feedback I've left on your rough draft as well as your final draft. These can often be looked over, or maybe you didn't have time to look super closely at the feedback the first time. This is the time to look super closely at that feedback. It will help you come up with some ideas for revision and some revision strategies, and it might even, choose those areas of revision for you. If you have no clue where to start, please let me know and we can discuss some aspects for your revision. So here's what I will be grading for. I kind of took these questions, I took the items from the rubric and turned them into questions. So first, did you complete the topic choice quiz by the due date? Did the student address at least 3 areas of feedback in their revision? Did the student complete a thorough revision of their original essay that shows incorporation of feedback and strategies from class? Are all areas of revision addressed in the final version of the essay? Does the reflection show thoughtful consideration of revision? And then finally, is the essay improved by the revisions made? I do want to remind you that the grade that you got on the original essay stays the same. It will still stay there, but that grade has no real bearing on the grade of the revision essay. If you make changes to the essay that make the overall essay weaker, then you might get a lower grade than the original grade was. Ideally, though, we want to make changes that make the essay stronger, and you have gathered several skills over the course of the semester that will help you improve the quality of that original source. So the ideal scenario is that the grade that you get on this final project would be higher than the grade you got on the original assignment. Okay, so again, here are the 3 areas of focus: thesis, organization, paragraph development, grammar, spelling, and mechanics, evidence and support, conclusion, or MLA formatting. You will choose 3 of these to focus on. I recommend choosing 1 or 2 that are more dense areas of focus. So for example, paragraph development and evidence and support kind of go hand in hand, but they are technically different areas. So you might can pick those 2 as your main focus, and then pick one of the easier, or quote easier, areas of focus like grammar and spelling or MLA formatting, so that you are not picking 3 really heavy hitters. One thing that I would encourage you to do is to really commit to whatever 3 areas of revision you decide to focus on. If you are improving thesis, for example, thesis and introduction, then the introduction paragraph and your thesis statement need to be something you work on for a good amount of time of the time you spend on the project, and they should be visibly improved from the original. And there are tons of slides and handouts that I've given you over the semester that kind of give you some insight into what each section should be. And these next few slides go over if I were going to revise one of these areas, how would I attempt a revision? So these are just to give you some ideas about how you can attempt your own revision. Okay, so first we have introduction and thesis. If you are revising your introduction paragraph should introduce the topic with a clear hook that engages the reader and indicates what the essay will be about. It also should contain a clear thesis. Your thesis is the main idea or argument of the essay. The thesis statement in a personal narrative might be like the main point of your story. In the argumentative essay that we wrote, the thesis will likely be your main argument and possibly the 3 main points or claims. In your compare and contrast essay, it might be a comparative statement about the 2 articles. If you choose organization as one of your areas of revision, your readers must recognize 3 things quickly and easily. 1, where your introduction ends. 2, where your conclusion begins. And 3, what sentences in each paragraph state your main claims. These are typically your topic sentences, and they are typically the first sentence in each body paragraph. So go back to some of the slides where we went over the keyhole paragraph or the keyhole method and parts of a well-developed paragraph. Those handouts and slides will be particularly helpful for you in this revision. To assist in organization, you can make sure all of your body paragraphs have topic sentences that make the main claim of the paragraph clear, transition between paragraphs with transitional phrases or words, and end each body paragraph with a reference back to your thesis statement. Next, if you are looking to focus your revision on paragraph development, one of the ways that you can revise it is to make sure that your paragraphs all are well developed, meaning they are between 4 to 8 sentences. Remember the keyhole method that says that the basic structure of a body paragraph is as follows. It goes topic sentence, supportive evidence with the quotation sandwich if we are including research, an explanation of the evidence that you provided, and then a relation back to the thesis. Those 4 parts of the body paragraph will be crucial when I'm going to grade you on paragraph development and the revisions of your paragraphs. If you focus your area of revision on grammar, spelling, and mechanics, do know that I will be looking very closely at all your grammar, spelling, punctuation, and mechanical issues in the essay. Editing or revising your grammar and punctuation can include sentence-level issues like run-on sentences, subject-verb agreement, and comma splices and sentence fragments. It can also be small spelling errors or grammar mechanics errors. So I would highly encourage you to use a Word document or a Google Doc that indicates what spelling and grammar errors there are. And anytime there's a squiggly line under one of your words or anything in your essay is underlined by word, that means there is either a spelling, grammar, or mechanical issue with something in your sentence. And you can click on that and actually see what word suggests for you in terms of fixing that issue. If you do plan to revise your grammar, spelling, and mechanics, make sure to revise all grammar, spelling, punctuation, and mechanics issues throughout the entire document, top to bottom. This one is very easy to edit because we have so many word processing softwares that catch a lot of grammar, spelling, and mechanics issues. So I'm going to be grading pretty strictly on this one if you choose to edit according to this area of revision. Another option you have for an area of revision is the evidence or support. For some of the essays we have written, you have needed to include evidence or support for the claims you make, like the argumentative essay and the compare and contrast essay. If you'd like to revise your evidence or support in your essay, make sure that each body paragraph has support for its main claims and that the evidence or support is thoroughly explained as to how it proves that main claim to be true. We had evidence of this in the research paper when we used evidence from outside sources to support our own claims. This also applies to the compare and contrast essay where we compared two articles, and the personal argument essay where you included your own personal examples, either from your personal life or from hypothetical examples that you created. So remember that each time you make a claim, you also have to support it with evidence or examples and tie all of that evidence back to your original thesis. Another area of focus you can focus on for your revision is the conclusion. Your conclusion paragraph should refer back to your thesis, but now recognize that your reader has all the information you have presented to them. Some conclusions might summarize the main points of the essay, especially an essay that has several main points or main claims. A conclusion of a personal narrative will reflect on the importance or significance of the event of the story. A conclusion of the compare and contrast essay, for example, will likely conclude with the evaluation of which article you found more convincing and why. Or the personal argument essay will likely conclude with wrapping up the thesis statement and main argument and summarizing those main points of the argument. And finally, if you choose to revise the area of MLA formatting, we've been using MLA formatting throughout the entire semester, so the final revision essay should be in MLA format. If you choose to revise the formatting for your final revision project, every single aspect of the MLA formatting needs to be perfect in order to receive full credit. This is something that I have posted videos about. I have posted links to free guides online about, and if you choose this area as one of your areas of focus for me to grade on, then it needs to be accurate and correct. I even link here to the free Purdue OWL guide for MLA formatting. I also highly suggest if you are formatting an essay that has like a works cited page or in-text citations, going either to the Writing Center or to the librarians to set up an appointment with them and go over all your citations to make sure they're formatted correctly. If this area, much like the grammar section, if this is one of the areas you choose, I'm going to be pretty strict about it because the edits that you need to make are not as subjective as the edits that you will be making, say, for use of evidence or paragraph development. So that is what the final revision project looks like. There is not a required word count since all of our essays had differing word counts, but the same assignment guidelines still apply to whatever essay you choose. So for example, if you choose the personal narrative essay, the same assignment expectations that were on the original assignment instructions still apply to the assignment. It's not like you're changing the essay to be more argumentative or include research or anything. You are still doing your best to fulfill the assignment guidelines of the original assignment. The only difference is that now you have extra time to focus on 3 or more areas of revision and really nail those sections of your essay. Those are the things I'll be looking to when I go to grade your essay. I'll be comparing the original version to your new version. So make sure to actually make changes that impart more success onto the essay than the original essay had. And like I said, if you have any questions about where to start or what revision areas you might focus on, please contact me. I'd be happy to meet with you sometime this week or next. And I look forward to reading your revisions. And if you have any questions about this and just want to shoot me an email, please do. I'd love to talk to you about it and help you decide if you are in between 2 essays, what essay you might revise for the final. Okay, I'm going to leave you here. Have a good week. I hope you wrapped up the research essay unit nicely and are ready to finish this semester. I'm really proud of you guys for getting through this whole semester, especially online classes are pretty difficult and can be kind of stressful at times. So I'm really proud of you guys for getting through it to the end. And please let me know if you have any questions. All right, bye guys.